G'day everyone, my name is Gary and today we are going to have a closer look at the ICode student login and portal environment. It's going to be really interesting because the ICode Hackathon is a global competition and it has been running for a few years now. It is really popular and it involves kids from ages 6 all the way up to 16. You can learn with Blockly or Python, and it is just a really fun competition. Of course, with this competition, it is individual, so students can participate from home, and it also includes the training material, webinars, and a really fun game to play as well, to learn how to code with Blockly or to code with Python for the older students. So without further ado, let's jump in. So here we have our environment. Over here you can see that we have our announcements on the side here. These announcements can tell you when the competition dates are, and also when is your webinar or any other of those competition details. Of course, this competition is a global competition, so if you become if you score well in the top 10% of your region, then you can advance to a higher level of competition where the top 10% of that goes to the next level as well. So very competitive and super fun to do as well. Of course, up the top here you can access your account details to change your account name, and also over here you can change your language from English to Chinese. Okay, so if I switch it to Chinese, then you will see that all of my interface turns into Chinese as well. Okay, so let's have a look at our basic exercises. When we press go on basic 1, so here this is the last mission that I was working on, but I can also go back to complete a previous mission as well. So you can see here I get 3 stars if I fully complete the mission. I only get 1 star if I complete it partially. And we're going to talk about how those stars work in a moment as well. So let's have a look at an easy level. So here we have Dev. Dev is our astronaut that we're trying to rescue, and he's trying to find his way back home, so he needs to collect all his spaceship parts. Now, when we go Dev, have a look at Dev here, we see an item is 3 steps away. So 1, 2, 3 steps away. So we can tell Dev to do 3 steps. When I press the run key, then Dev will collect the item and it says well done. Okay, now this is how the stars work. You get a star for completing the mission, but then you get additional stars for actually using your code efficiently. So this is rewarding students for best practices when they are doing their code, so they're not writing too many lines of code or too many blocks of code, and that they are being as efficient as they can using things like loops and functions. Okay, so if I have a look at another level, maybe a slightly harder one. Okay, so here Dev needs to turn towards the right. So you see here that Dev, he's actually facing the wrong way. So our first maneuver should be to switch him to face towards the right hand side, okay, which is to get to look towards this item. So over here we have all of our coding blocks, and these coding blocks will gradually be unlocked as the student continues through their lesson. So here we're just going to get Dev to turn towards the right, and then we get him to move our 3 steps. What if I don't do the 3 steps? What if I just go 2 steps? Then what's going to happen is when you press run, you can see the result of your code through this animation. When you press run, he turns towards the right, but then he doesn't reach the energy boost. So that tells you that we need to do some more work. Okay, so here I've done 2 steps. I need to make another 2 steps out here. Get another 2 steps here. I press run. Finally got my booster, but you can see here that I am missing a star. Okay, I only got 2 of the 3 achievements because I used an extra block. Here it's telling me that I should be able to do this with 2 blocks of code instead of 3 blocks. So I can try that again. So how do I reduce the number of blocks? Well, I can just remove 1 block and then change this to 4. Now this is going to make it so that I can achieve this mission with the full 3 stars. Really, really cool. Now this all looks very simple for now, but as the missions get harder and harder, and remember there are dozens of missions here, these harder missions become much more tricky, and even for experienced programmers, you'll find that this is going to get much harder to achieve. So here, not only does Dev need to collect your items, you also can ride on the spaceship and do different things with that. Really, really cool. Now let's have a look at our Python code. So same thing as before, when we hit back. And also you when you get 3 stars for a level, then you can you save those 3 stars. So you can redo it over and over again, but you'll get your highest score. Okay. Now during the competition, the webinars will all be about revolve around the different missions and the different starting programs. And you can see that we just did 2 or 3 different challenges, but look at all these stars. Like each mission has 3 stars. So here there's like 20 missions for basic, and then there are 50 missions for programming. Then there's another 90 missions like for your education, and another 30 missions for Blockly. So there's a lot of activities here when you join the competition, and you're not going to run out of material very early. You're going to be spending a lot of time practicing and learning how to do it. And of course, the actual competition is going to be harder. It's going to be harder than all of these basic competitions. Basic activities. So let's have a look at Python. So the Python story is almost exactly the same, except we have to actually code in Python. Now, even though we are coding in Python, it doesn't mean that we have to write everything from scratch, because I know that a lot of starting students, they might not be very comfortable with typing out code right at the start, which is why we can actually use these aid blocks here as well. So if I wanted to make a new line and ask Dev to move forward, then I can just click on Dev, and then you can see that it starts typing for me. Okay, this is just a tool so that even students who are not comfortable with typing, or who are unable to type, they can just use a pointing device to do most of this code. Here I just clicked on step, and then it types in my step method here for me. All I have to do is type in my parameters in the middle here, and now I click on run, and then it highlights each line of code as I go through. Okay, same parameters as well. When I score the mission, I get a star, but then it also marks me based on my efficiency of my code as well. Now, during competition, the number of stars you get will directly affect how far in the competition you get. So you need to score well in order to be very competitive in this tournament stage. Okay, let's have another look at another example. So if I go to another level, I'll be able to click on Dev. Whoops, I need to start a new line. I can click on Dev to start typing Dev, and then I can click on Step. And of course, I can also type here as well. Right? It's all still normal. And if I have errors in my code, just like this, if I go dev step. Of course, this devs doesn't exist. If I press run, then it will tell me exactly where my error is. Just like a Python IDE, it will be able to tell me where my typing has gone wrong, so that the student can start looking for the typing mistakes as well. Alright, other than the actual game, we also have some other tools to help the students learn Python and learn Blockly. So here we have our level map, but also we have our instructions on how the game works, how to skip levels or how to redo levels, and to give us hints on excelling with this project. There's also a bit of a knowledge review where you can look at different capabilities that you've unlocked. And then also the story, the enthralling story of Dev and his spaceship. And this video, I'm not going to spoil it for you, is pretty awesome as well. So that's it, guys. That's our first look into the student platform for the ICode competition. I can't wait to get this started. And if you're interested, make sure you drop me a message. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.